Today, I'd like to make a little bit of an adjustment. I know you used to seeing me give summaries of the chapters, different chapters of my book, Unlock Your Possibilities. But today, it's a different presentation. What I would like to do in this episode is really to focus this presentation on the dismal performance of the current president of the West African state of Sierra Leone and why he should not be reelected to State House. The truth is, Julius Maada Bio has no business to lead Sierra Leone. He simply is not qualified. He's not qualified morally, ethically, professionally, academically to lead the nation of Sierra Leone. He's not. Therefore, as a Sierra Leonean, it behooves me, like many others residing abroad, as a Sierra Leonean American, behooves me to see this guy vacate the office of the presidency. To be less involved is simply an abdication of my responsibility, and that includes others who are not getting involved at all. Got to be involved. Maada Bio is a thug who has continued to kill citizens with impunity. Doesn't care. Doesn't care what you think. And what is sad is that the international community has silently stood by while he commits these crimes. Bio has really neutralized all the armed forces and the security forces of the country. He's been able to do so by appointing men and women of his tribe, the Mende tribe, in key government positions. For example, the Sierra Leone police, the inspector general is a Mende man. The deputy is Mende, the deputy IG. The head of operations, again, is a Mende. The director of crime services is a Mende. The head of criminal investigation department, the CID, is a Mende. As you can see, just about every one of his appointments, well over 90% of his appointments are Mendes, people from his tribe. Take a look at the deputy, the head of the parliamentary, which is the OSD, is a Mende. The Office of National Security is a Mende. The Central Intelligence Security Unit is a Mende, the Director General there. The deputy is also a Mende. The Sierra Leone Armed Forces, out of those four brigade commanders, two of them are Mendes. Again, Bio appointed, here is really what I find to be unconscionable. Bio appointed a governor of the Bank of Sierra Leone that knew nothing about running a bank, let alone a central bank of a nation. The so-called bank governor, in a few years, decimated the national currency to the extent that in national economic institutions rendered the national currency, the Leone, worthless. The guy performed so poorly that in a few years, he looted the government coffers and took off. He ran back to the United States, right here in America, where he was an unknown professor. And that's where Bio found him. This is one of the reasons why the Leone, which used to be worth $1.25 in my days, to almost $0 nowadays. It's worthless. It's a dollar is like 2,300 leones. It's just awful. Now, Maada Bio travels around the world and lies again all the time. The international media has no respect for the man. And by juxtaposition for the nation of Sierra Leone, The idea is, why would Sierra Leone even have this guy as a leader? The guy who barely finished high school. Bio lies about giving free education to the children of Sierra Leone, while the nation remains at the bottom of the educational index among civilized nations of the world. And Bio and his government reached a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund. And here is one of the conclusions of that agreement, that Sierra Leone's economic challenges have intensified. Inflation has continued to rise. The currency has depreciated sharply, and debt-related risks have increased. The authorities have requested an extension. They went and requested, beyond them, an extension of the program, meaning the debt, to November of this year, to continue building on and again, the recent reforms, and they talk about reforms. Now, let me tell you, I'm speaking from the standpoint of an economist. Let me say this. In any given nation, production is the key to economic recovery, to economic growth. The point is, it doesn't matter how much money that the IMF, the World Bank, and other international financial institutions loan to the government of Sierra Leone. No recovery will take place. It will never take place. And the people of Sierra Leone will continue to suffer, as they have done for many years, until the government comes to its senses that getting the citizens involved in meaningful, productive activities remains the primary way to saving that nation. Got to get the people working. Yes, the diamonds are there. The iron ore is there. And other mineral resources, they all continue to contribute to the nation's economy. But the human capital needs to be challenged. It needs to be engaged. People need to have jobs. And what's bad for Sierra Leone, another thing that's bad for Sierra Leone is this. It has sunk to the bottom of any nation in the world. In the not too distant past, higher education institutions of Sierra Leone were really unparalleled with their counterparts in other nations of Africa. Those nations, Sierra Leone was pretty much at the top. They used to call it the Athens of Africa or West Africa. Today, our nation now ranks among the least in academic performance, again, among civilized nations of the world. In fact, here's the other thing, disturbing thing. Creole, a vernacular, has pretty much replaced English as the accepted form of communication among Sierra Leoneans, including professionals. People ridicule others for being highly educated. It really is sad. Only in a nation where a 12th grader or 12th grade graduate is a leader that such things happen. Other nations harness the power of their educated citizens. But here's even a deeper problem. It's really deep. Those individuals with college educations cannot even find gainful employment upon completion of their programs. They walk around begging, stealing, driving vehicles, driving people to different destinations, using a form of transportation called Okada. The guy really doesn't even care. Bio really doesn't care. Bio is worried about, again, a semi-literate Sierra Leonean who resides in Holland, causing him trouble. He doesn't think for once that if he only does his job. If he were to have done his job, meaning provided an environment whereby people can earn a living to care for their children, for their family. Adebayo's words really wouldn't resonate with the people of Sierra Leone. This is why every citizen must vote on election day to get rid of this guy. You must. You must get rid of this guy. He's already caused too many problems, killed too many people, senselessly. But finally, Bio and his group again continue to perpetuate the lie that the US dollar is their problem. Obviously, this very myth, has been a long-standing one in developing nations. But let me just give you a basic explanation of how things work when it comes to currencies. For Sierra Leone, each time the value of their currency, the Leone, falls, they tend to blame it on the dollar. They forget that it is their mismanagement, their bad economic policies. Those are the things that are reasons for the value of their currency to fall. Also, let me make this point clear, that the value of a nation's currency is stacked up against those of other nations of the world. So the Leone is competing. So the Leone is competing with currencies of countries like Guinea, Ghana, Liberia, Senegal, and of course, America and the Gambia. So what really determines the value of a nation's currency is the nation's productive activity, pretty much what it sells to other nations of the world. Let me repeat. The productive activity of a nation is what determines a nation's currency, the worth of its currency. Okay. So that holding all other things constant, for example, if Guinea produces and sells to the world more goods and services than Sierra Leone, the value of the Leone against the Guinean franc will be less. It's that simple. And this works for all other nations. The trouble is, Sierra Leone under President Mada Bio produces and sells absolutely nothing, little or nothing to the world. Bio has made Sierra Leone a beggar and consumer nation. This is why I propose the incoming government of Dr. Samura Kamara, who's an intelligent man, a man you can reason with, a man who's been to places, a man who's not afraid to negotiate, and actually the international community likes him. They like to work with him. Okay, that's why I propose that this man, hires an economist, not a classroom economist like what Bio did. And again, him being semi-educated, you can tell why he would go and get a classroom economist, someone who's never practiced, who's never been in the field, and make him the governor of the bank of a nation. Okay. But we need to hire an economist that will bring about sound fiscal and monetary policies that will lead to citizens having jobs, being able to work. That's the key, my friend. The nation will not, once you do that, the nation will not have to deplete its limited resources to buy staple foods like rice and flour from nations like China. These are things that they can grow right there in Sierra Leone. using its human capital, the people. So why is it that up to the 11th hour, he's talking about less than 2 weeks, this guy will be out of office? Why didn't he engage the people? He goes out, begs for money to the international community, lies about giving scholarships to children, and yet our education is the nation's education capacity is as low as ever it's ever been. So now all of a sudden, it's making promises that he knows he can't fulfill. So my position is this: I truly believe that our people, we have a responsibility. Those of us that are educated have a responsibility to stand up and stand out and say something. It can't keep going. Our folks are suffering. We can't let this guy really continue another 5 years at the state house, in the state house. We can't. So I'm asking Sierra Leoneans, I'm asking my people in the Cambia district, Port Lockhart district, actually Freetown, around the nation. This is not a tribal thing. It's about competence. This guy doesn't have it. He lacks that. He is not to really be there any more than the time he's got left. So again, I just want to make this commentary, and I will make another one before the election. Okay, but I'll take, I'll talk to you guys some other time, hopefully another day or so. But in the meantime, I would like some feedback. If you'd like to reach me, my email address is francisdumbuya1@gmail.com. francisdumbuya1@gmail.com. And you can also reach me through my YouTube channel, Unlock Your Possibilities. It's at Unlock Your Possibilities. And I'm gonna continue doing the different summaries of the book, my upcoming book. We have another 5 or so chapters to complete, so that this book can get out there for you guys to enjoy. In the meantime, you can go to the channel, take a look at the different videos, take a look at the topics that I discussed, and feel free to enjoy them, to share them, and to send me some of your feedback as well. I encourage that. But until then, please, please, folks, please, Sierra Leoneans, get out there, vote. Vote for Dr. Samura Kamara. Please. He's competent, he's able, and the international community it finds him a man that's amenable, a man that's amiable, a man that they can work with. And that's what we need. But again, more so, I know he will come, whichever resources he finds when he becomes president, he will engage the people, go to the different districts, and really provide resources for people to be gainfully employed. But again, no economy ever really grows by being a consumer nation only. This is what Sierra Leone is. They cook the numbers, they go out there, they beg for the nation, the money never gets back to the country. Never. And so, again, there's more to discuss, but until then, I just felt I felt a need to make this comment. And so, if you have any feedback, I love to hear your feedback. I welcome your feedback. So until then, you have a good evening, and I'll talk to you hopefully in a day or two. But I am going to continue to make these commentaries because I just believe that I have a responsibility to do that. As a Sierra Leonean American, it's my duty to not let someone who's lost who really knows nothing about leadership continue to really lead the country in a path of destruction. No, I can't. You have to speak up, and I ask others to speak up and to speak out as well. All right, until then, I'll talk to you later. Thanks again.